Good evening and welcome to another live stream of Scary Bazaar. As always, I am your hostess, Miss Spooky, and we are going to be continuing on with my little succubus painting here. We're going to do the heart thing on the bottom and the picture, and hopefully her legs as well for this piece. So I'm using, to do kind of the paint, I'm using kind of a more frayed little brush here because I'm wanting it to look more like, you know, like paint, I guess, you know, like she painted it down with her hands. Not wanting it to look super straight edged here. And so for that reason we're just going to kind of like brush the paint on very lightly, very loosely here. Be doing that. So some of you may know I live down south, and we had that kind of big snowstorm kind of blow through a little bit. It seems that the snow's finally stopped and the weather's getting warm, and you know, all the snow's melting, which is good. I haven't been to work at all this week because there's just no way I was leaving the house in my crappy car with the crappy tires on these roads. I've also decided that I'm going to stop trying to re-upload my live streams here onto Instagram because they're uploading in such low quality. And I can't seem to fix that, so I'm going to be uploading them to YouTube instead. And I'm going to be turning the live streams into little kind of 10-minute speed videos, and I'm going to be posting those to Instagram with a link to the live stream in the description of the speed painting for this. I should probably start reposting to YouTube anyway. I did for a little while. Just because, you know, reach a wider audience there. And I can still kind of vaguely make out my ink lines for this underneath you know, the paint I threw over top of it, which is good. That's what I'm going by. I know you guys can't really see it in the video. We've also been kind of sick this week. I was actually sick Sunday and Monday, and now it seems that my husband is sick currently. Which, you know, happens. And so this part should be pretty easy. I mixed up a couple different shades of red because I might throw in a little bit of highlights and shadows into it, but not a whole lot here. I'm also like trying to see around my phone setup here without getting in you guys' way while I'm doing it here. And so what I'm doing is, you know, I'm kind of trying to paint with the the direction because of the way I kind of drew it, because if you noticed before I'd started painting, it's like thicker and then it comes down to a point, so I'm wanting to paint in that same, excuse me, general direction so that I can get the same effect here. And again, I'm doing it really loose with my paint colors here. You probably hear the family in the background. I usually put the boy in the bath when I'm doing these kinds of things, but our bath is broken. The knobs for the faucet have been stripped out, so they're really hard to turn on, and then they're nearly impossible to turn back off. And knowing our landlord, he's not gonna do anything to fix it. Which sucks. So we're just gonna have to make do till my husband can get around to fix it. There. So that was pretty easy and quick. I've also been obsessively playing a new game that I've downloaded off of the Google Play app. I downloaded it when it first hit and was early access. It's not scary by any means, but I might end up doing a live stream for that too. I know in a recent, or somewhat recent post, I said that I was going to be trying to do the foot pick thing. I tried it for a little bit, turns out it wasn't for me, so I'm not going to be doing that. So I'll try to be doing video games back on this one, and it's called Harvest Town. So if you're into like the Rune Factory or the Harvest Moon games, this game would be totally up your alley. I'm kind of obsessed with it. I shouldn't be wasting so much time on video games, but I can't help it. So now I think I'm going to switch to a bit of a smaller brush for doing a little more of the detail work into this stuff. Hello, love. Let's see. Switch to a little bit of the darker red here. And I'm going to work with the back ones first just because they're so much smaller and they're kind of easier to work with. Layer in just a little bit of this darker color. It doesn't seem like it's much different, a much different shade from the other one, but it is slightly different, so you might not be able to tell so well in the video. My husband ended up losing his phone. He's been thinking it's been a good idea to take the vehicle out in this weather. He's from Colorado. Anyway, long story short, he's like crashed the car into snowbanks like 4 different times, and we think one of these occasions when he was shoveling himself back out of the snow, he ended up dropping his phone somewhere, and now we can't find it, so he had to get a new one. No. He's like, oh, I'm such an idiot for going out driving. It's like, yeah, that's what I've been telling you, but whatever. I'm wanting to add just a little bit of this darker color in here without ruining the without making it look too defined, because we're not wanting it to come out super defined there. And then the color I mixed up to do more highlights with is a more neon red, which I'm worried might pop out a little too much, but we'll have to see. I might end up really liking it, because sometimes I'll mix up things that I don't think will work, but I give them a try anyway, and it turns out I really like the way they turned out.
Hey, Mama.
Hey, buddy. What's up?
Nothing.
Son?
Are you mixing some colors?
Nope, I'm just painting for my live stream here.
Is that a heart?
It is a heart.
Why are you drawing a heart?
Because it's part of the painting. Could you not shake the table so much, please?
Okay.
Thank you. He's been loving the snow, by the way. We've taken him outside a couple of times to play in it.
I love you, Mama.
And I love you too, little man.
Well, Mama, I was expecting that to get something to drink.
Well, what would you like to drink? Bring me a bottle of water and I'll open it for you. In fact, there's one sitting right there that's already open. I can take the lid off of it for you.
Actually, I'm not that thirsty.
As you bring me a 2 liter of soda.
Mm-hmm.
Bring me your cup.
Excuse me, Papa, I need a cup.
I don't have the speed painting video ready just yet. Because I use freemusicarchive.org, and I like to pick background music for you guys to listen to for the speed painting, even though if you're like me, you usually have your sound off. Hold on. You're watching stuff like this, but you know, either way, for those of you who don't and usually have your music going, but there's a lot of interesting artists that I'm sure most people have never even heard of that post music to freemusicarchives.org, and it's also a way to get them a little bit of exposure too. You can't be coming in here being loud, buddy, while I'm doing this, okay? Go run along, watch your fungus movie with Papa. They're watching a documentary on mushrooms in there. It's kind of cool. Thankfully, though, it's like we never lost power during the whole thing, just the roads got kind of bad. And the thing is weather like this happens every couple of years down here in Tennessee, and people still don't know how to drive in it, and me included. So, this isn't exactly an unprecedented event. Texas, though, I think it's a little bit different. So this is, I'm trying to show you guys. It's kind of hard to, it's not wanting to focus, but that's kind of the color that I've picked for this. And it looks like I'm only really going to need like very minimal usage of this color here. Oh, yes, you guys can definitely see that color. Lancer, sweetie, can you please stop running around in circles in here? Please. Thank you. I love him. I swear I do. All right. But I'm trying to stick to the working forward to back kind of thing, so that's why after I get this kind of background part done, we're going to move on to the legs, and then from there the wings, and then from there her torso, into the arms, and then the face and hair and horns, and we should be done after that. Just a few more kind of live stream episodes here. And then I do plan to post the full speed painting start to finish in a single video on YouTube as well. He's really wanting attention right now. Can't help it, loves his mama. But I'm a little bit disappointed. I don't know if it's the phone and some stuff to do with like recent Instagram updates or whatnot, but used to be when I'd upload the live streams, they'd upload just fine. But now that I'm doing it, they're not uploading properly. Well, that's alright, because that just means I'll start doing the YouTube again. We're recently trying to start a thing in the house called the Lancer Challenge, in which we've got a big poster board up with all the household challenges for the boy to follow, and if he does a good job, he gets treats, and if he does a bad job, he gets timeouts. We're trying to trick the kid into following the rules. Hey, you.
I love you, Mama.
And I love you. Can you please go back and watch the movie, Mama?
Oh, I just want to, yeah, I'll do it.
Thank you. He is. He's a mama's boy. I can't even go to the bathroom without him following me in there wanting to see what I'm doing and make sure I'm okay. There we go. So I think that looks good, and we're going to move on to painting the little picture here. I'm going to try to get on and live stream again tomorrow because I want to get this one done as quickly as possible. I'm actually trying to get better at finishing things. But as far as the whole work from home kind of thing, which I've been, given more and more thought to.
Nice.
I've been looking into possibly getting certified into some transcription work, maybe, because that's one thing that I can do working from home kind of thing. I've also been, I never knew that there was a thing called Fiverr, but apparently there is, and I've also been considering the possibility of starting a Fiverr page where I very kind of simple line art for people's D&D characters or OCs or, that kind of thing, which could be a good route to take. I'm going to throw in a little bit of purple into this kind of background because looking at it now I feel like it'll blend in too much with his skin tones. And I don't really want that so much. There we go. And the good thing is about doing this photograph is it doesn't need to be so detail-oriented either. It just kind of needs to be like the suggestion of a person in a photograph. It's one of the challenges with doing art is kind of learning when to put in lots of detail and when not to put in lots of detail for certain things. Because I know I'm real guilty of it, of trying to just go overboard with detail and stuff in certain pieces, and then they end up looking too muddled, and you don't actually need as much detail in certain areas that you've put in. You'd actually get better what is it? Just got another text. You'd get better results by doing things a little more suggestive, that kind of, less is more kind of thing. You know what I'm talking about? Because I myself have ruined many pieces by trying to put way too many details into areas that didn't necessarily need them. I think we're going to switch to one of these here, and a kind of a darker brownish color. Again, we're just going to kind of lightly go around here and just do a little bit of a darker line to kind of show off. To kind of just, again, I'm not super thrilled with how that's turning out. We'll keep just kind of working on it here a little bit. Make it There we go, that's a little bit better there. And I think I'm going to use this same kind of medium dark brown color for his hair. And we will sketch in his hair. So yes, that might be something I'm looking into doing instead after the baby comes, so that I can work from home and take care of the kids at the same time. Fiverr and doing
Fiverr.
transcription type work. I guess that there's 6-month online certification courses, did I already say that? That you can take. There's also several websites that claim that no experience whatsoever is necessary in order to get started with them. But doing research into those, I've also learned that those websites pay not a whole lot and not very well. We'll just do our best to ignore him. Although as soon as I say that, he's going to take it as a challenge. There we go. So far, so good. I like it. And then I think I'm going to use the blue here to do his shirt. I don't know why, I envision blue for his shirt when I'm thinking about the colors for this piece here. There we go. Come in here with a little bit of my cream color while the blue is still wet. We'll try to blend that in before the blue dries to make it look a little bit lighter in certain areas.
What is it?
Excuse me one moment. I'll get the husband to try to wrangle the kid while I'm doing this. And then these kind of smudges down here on the bottom are going to be more of the, switch to a slightly bigger brush here, are going to be more of the bloody spatter kind of parts. And what's cool about this is you don't have to make sure that you can make the edges on your photograph a little more fluid. They don't have to be perfectly rectangular or straight, because it kind of gives it more of the look that it's like kind of a well-worn photograph that's been held and maybe even crumpled up a little bit more often. Which is kind of what I'm going for here. Kind of a well-worn photograph look. also went with the old, kind of older looking, oh, I can't remember what they're called, like the Kodaks or whatever, you know, the ones where you'd snap the picture and then it would print out the bottom and then it would take a few minutes for it to develop, kind of thing. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. They recently, a few years ago, remade some of those, the cameras that do the same thing for the hipster crowd. Of course, I'm a little bit older than some of y'all, so I actually remember the original big black chunky brick cameras that did that kind of thing. Again, we're going to add in some of our highlight and shadow areas with my little detail brush here.
Oh, I want color.
Come in and even out that edge there. But now hopefully this weather gets better soon because the guys actually have a big job. It would be nice, and if they get it done, it'll help us move out of this place before this baby's born, which would be awesome. That's something we're looking into anyway. Because I would much rather not be living here by the time this baby comes around. And yes, I lick my paintbrushes, I don't know why. I've always been like that. The paint is gross and it's a gross habit, but I don't know. I admit to it. You know, for some reason spit helps the acrylic blend better, I think. Probably not, but that's how I've always felt about it. But I do think, wanting to come in with just a tad of white to help, because it to help with that edge, make it pop out just a little bit more. Of course, if I do that, excuse me, I've been drinking orange soda all day. I'm gonna have to add a little bit of a white edge to some of the other areas, but not too much. It is possible to overuse white when doing highlights. There. I'm going to come back in and re-sharpen this edge just a tad, which will also help the edge of the white edge of the photograph stand out just a little bit more. There we go. I'll leave it alone for a while because we can always come back to it. It's like sometimes if something's not quite working out for you, the best thing to do is to just kind of leave it be and then come back to it later and you'll have better luck fixing it than you would if you just sit there and try to mess with it for a long time without a break, and you'll end up just screwing it up. It's like fresh eyes can sometimes be what you need for certain things. Go. Check my phone battery here real quick, because like this phone does not like to live stream. It kills it. I've said that before, but yeah, like it seriously does. Live streaming kills this phone. So I always try to make sure that it's mostly all the way charged before doing it. And then I've got to kind of watch it and baby it to make sure it doesn't die in the middle of a live stream, so that I can save the live stream and post it for anybody else who wants to watch it, although I feel like this one's particularly boring this time because I don't have much to talk about. It's like I haven't left the house in a week, you know? I haven't really done anything in a week either except sleep. Bad habit to be getting into, but this baby makes me tired for some reason. Like, oh, it's in my lap. Looking for my paint rag here. It is. I'm in the second half of my pregnancy, and I'm just tired and hungry all the time. Like, eat and sleep. That's all I want to do. There we go. Alright, now we're going to move onward to her legs. So, I've got a couple of my skin tones mixed up. We've got some of our warmer browns, some of our cooler pinks and blues. And we're going to try to use all of them to get a nice color going on here. So I think we're going to start with this section of leg first and then move on to this section. And then we're going to do, she's wearing stockings, kind of not completely fishnet, not really the fishnet, but where they're kind of see-through. And so I think we're going to be mixing in some grayer tones with the skin color to kind of do the separation between those two there. And this one I'm going to have to pay, or this section, I'm going to have to pay close attention to, because this area is going to be really far back into the shadows because it's got the one wing coming over it and then her arms on top of that too. So we're going to kind of start with this tone, and we're going to kind of brush it in here into this section, and then we're going to use this tone, I think, for the shadowy parts, and then we're going to kind of blend them together as we go, and we're going to build up our layers of paint and highlights and shadows from there. I really wish I had my little spray thing. I need to get a new one. I mentioned in my last live stream that my little water sprayer broke, which sucks. But for anybody who's wondering, and I do mention this all the time too, what I do to keep my paints as workable and long-lasting as I do, since they're cheap acrylics, is water-based personal lubricant. I always mix it in with all of my paint colors, and that stuff is amazing. I love it. It gives your paints a longer shelf life in the fridge. I put mine in the fridge. I cover them with a moist paper towel or a rag also, and I store them in the fridge, which also seems to help increase their shelf life. And the water-based lubricant, double up on those two, and you can store your paint palette in the fridge for a very long time. It's amazing. So I've had them last several weeks to a month using this method in the fridge before they get too dried out to be usable. And they also, the paint lasts longer, not just from the drying out, but because you need, you know, less pigment when you're mixing that way. So it takes less paint pigment if you're mixing it with the other mediums than it does just using it straight out of the tube. And it also just seems to spread better on the canvas or the paper or whatever you're using. Let's see. What paintbrush am I gonna switch to now? And there are Legos in my paintbrush bag. Yay.
What's that? Is that the sun?
I wonder how those got in there. Guess we'll go back to using this guy here. And I kind of want to switch to, I've got this kind of cooler grayish brown. Skin tones are tricky because they're a combination of warm tones and cool tones when you're doing your painting, and it definitely takes practice on getting those tones just right so that they work together without them looking too weird. And so a lot of what I do, and what I'm sure most artists do, is just kind of trial and error. It's like practice is really the biggest thing that you can do for any sort of art or craft. It's like you can take all the classes you want, read all the books you want, you know, watch all the videos you want. Ultimately, it comes down to just practicing it yourself. So far, I think that cool tone that I've mixed together and picked actually works really well here. I'm very happy with that. And it's like, and I hope that you guys are going to be able to see that in the video. It's one thing that I know drives me nuts, is that, especially if you don't have the highest quality camera to work with, is that it won't pick up those subtle changes in tone. That it's like I can obviously see right now, but that you guys might not be able to see, which will make it a little bit difficult for you to even tell what the heck I'm doing. a very light kind of creamy pinkish white, and we're just going to dot a little bit of that in here on this leg area too, not too much, but just a little bit. There we go. And so I think that looks pretty good. And then there's a little section of leg I almost forgot about here because it ended up getting covered up by the blue paint. But this area is going to be completely in shadow back here, so we're going to go ahead and paint that guy in. There we go. And I think I'm going to leave it at that for now. As we go further, we might realize that we need to add a little more highlight or a little more shadow in there. But for now, I think that does look pretty good the way it is. And we're going to move on to this other leg section over here. Like the paint's even better than it is now if I had my water spray can with me. My spritzer, that's the word I'm thinking of, the spritzer. I have no spritzer. And I went ahead and did that one all with the solid shadow color. You know, and this one might be one of those cases where we're using, where the shadow is going to be a little bit deeper than it is on this side just because of that. I'm going to come back in with the, so this is the color that I'm using for kind of my cooler shadow areas on her skin here. And I have noticed that sometimes in certain areas, if you work the paint too much, it just kind of gets all muddled and weird looking. And we want to kind of avoid that as well. It's like paint is a finicky thing. It's like when the art classes I did take in college, you know, and you spend the first day kind of introducing yourself and talking about your experience level, and I mentioned that I've never used paint before, I've always used color pencil. The teacher's like, oh, you'll be fine, it's the exact same thing. No, it is not. At all. I actually still like this way better, but I'm getting to where I like paint a lot more too. Hate oil paint. Will not use oil paint. Acrylic. In my opinion, it's a lot more versatile than any of the other paints because you can thicken it into a more oil paint type state, or you can thin it down into more of a watercolor type state, which I love, depending on what techniques you're trying to achieve. If you're wanting something very textured and more abstract, or something more delicate and, I don't want to say pretty, but I don't know, that's the word that comes to mind for some reason. Actually, I don't like the edge I'm getting on this side so much. I think I'm going to come back in with the lighter skin tone and just dot in just a little bit of that. So I know that for the technique that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to do something kind of in the middle, because I know that the thinner, cleaner, almost watercolor look is more popular amongst the kind of anime styles and stuff that I like to draw, but I've always preferred the look of the more traditional, almost the Rococo era paintings. Jasmine Beckett Griffith, she's one of my favorite artists. What she does is a very good example of where I'm trying to get to with my art style. I love her. I have one of her tarot card sets, actually. She has tarot card sets out. I've only got one. I think she has like 3 or 4. She's got her own coloring books, her own permanent gallery at Disneyland or Disney World. I can't remember which one, but she's amazing. And I started following her work from almost the beginning, like 15 years ago when she first started, and not only watching her fame and her business explode like it has over the years, but just her level of experience and technique with her art has been amazing and just super inspiring. It's like she is my goals. You know, what she's done. It's like I would love to be doing that someday. Probably not a contract with Disney. I am, after all, very openly anti-Disney. But just, you know, like when she started out, she was lucky to be selling a painting for $100, and now she sells them for 10 grand easy before she's even got them finished. You know, she's got people buying them for 10 grand. To adjust my lighting a little bit here, it's creating a glare that's making it difficult for me to see what I'm doing. Although I will say one of the things or techniques that I've used from the color pencils to the paints is, if I'm not sure what colors I'm wanting to mix up for a painting, I might sketch it out, kind of the color palette with the color pencils first, and then it gives me a little bit of a better idea of what colors I'm needing to mix up with the paints. There we go. And so I am going back, and not a whole lot, but in just some very in just some very small areas with this darker color that I'm using for the shadows on the one leg. I'm just barely dotting something on this leg too. Mostly around where the wing is creating shadow over this leg here. Like that. There. And I think that's all of that darker color that I'm going to be adding into the legs. So now we got to think about how we're going to make it look like she's wearing the stockings without just painting it completely gray, because I want them to be kind of the somewhat see-through stockings. And so what I'm thinking here is we're going to use the darker medium color that I've mixed in for her skin tone, and I think I'm going to add a little bit of the medium gray to it. We'll see what that looks like here. I'm mixing it up kind of on the edge down here. And I think we're going to use that as the base. Yeah. And I think we're going to work primarily in the grays and blacks on top of that to make it look like she's wearing the stockings here. Yeah, see, I think that's going to work pretty well as the base color for her stocking legs. And of course, the very last part of the legs that we're going to do is the band on the stockings. So once I finish this one, I'm going to finish well, I think I'll just go ahead and finish it off of the live stream, my Sailor Moon drawing real quick. I've got another one that I'm going to be doing off screen that I think is going to be color pencil and not paint. And then I've got my bigger painting that I still need to finish. Got all of my rose painting finished. I went and took stock of all the embroidery floss that I have, and I don't embroider. I have no talent for it whatsoever. But I should have enough materials to make roughly 30 of the rose pins. So I don't know. I can't say no to free crafting supplies, even if it's something I don't normally use on my own. And that's the fun thing with crafting supplies, is if you think hard enough, you're always able to come up with something that you can do with it. And then she should have a toe, kinda, yeah, got covered up a little bit, but we want to make sure that we paint it back in and include it into what we're doing. And I'm trying not to, I should have painted this side first and then this side, because now I'm trying to keep my hands out of the paint on this side, trying to paint this side. I'm trying not to smudge it around so much. It's actually something I learned watching an old Saturday morning cartoon some of you may or may not remember called Filbert. It was a certain episode where they had somebody vandalizing the new bathrooms that the school had just put in. It's like it was a middle school crime detective show. I actually did not care for the show very much. I remembered this episode, and one of the ways they ended up catching the perpetrator was she was left-handed, and so whenever she would write, 'cause you know you write right to left, but doing it left-handed, she would end up smearing the graffiti, and it ended up, they found a long arm here, and I remember thinking, you know, I don't know, that just like, it made a note in my head as far as the art goes, of like, determining which direction you should work on painting and drawing pieces if you want to minimize your smearing of your lines. It's from a cartoon, it's just something that's stuck in my head. I already uploaded the first live stream to YouTube. It took like 9.5 hours to do it, which sucked, killed my battery. But I am gonna upload this one also. So we might be getting 2 speed painting uploads this week, 3 possibly, because I still need to upload the speed painting from the first live stream. And I'm gonna have to upload the speed painting for this live stream. I have no views whatsoever. I think that most of my videos on YouTube is like 73, and it was one of my SCP paintings, which is, you know, one more reason why I should probably get back into doing those kinds of things. Because I know that SCPs are really popular. I love them. I absolutely love the SCPs. Alright, so now I got a puddle of paint over here too that I've got to try not to get myself into and smear everywhere. I kind of redraw in the lines real quick, and then we'll go back and we'll layer them up and make them look good. There we go. That way I don't lose sight of them. The colors for her skin might be a little bit too warm, but I'm also worried if I mess with them a little too much, I'm going to end up ruining them. Especially if I come back and mess with them right now, because originally I didn't like the way this was looking, but now that I keep looking back and forth at it, I think, yeah, that's alright. You know, I don't mind that too much. So, you know, I might end up looking back at this tomorrow and thinking, yeah, I don't mind those skin tones at all. They look okay to me.
Taking so long out there, Papa.
asking about me.
Mama,
Yeah, little man?
what was keeping you so long?
I'm doing a painting here. I'm almost done. I'm wanting to finish up her legs and then I'll be done for the day. It's like, and I'm almost done with her legs.
Is that why Mama, the front door was open.
Well, the front door better not be open.
It looked like it was open, but now it's closed. It's strange.
That is strange, buddy. Go on, run along and watch your FBI movie with Papa.
I remember watching that movie.
Because I can hear it.
Yeah. I just wanted to look at streets.
Well, there's no snow on the roads, but we've still got snow in the yard, don't we?
Yeah, it's almost melted up.
It sure is.
How many houses are there on Earth?
I have no clue, buddy. There's a lot of houses on Earth.
Well, look at me.
I can't look at you right now. Go watch movies with your Papa.
Oh, I wanted to just look at the streets.
And he's back.
Huh?
Talking about you.
Mama, what did you say?
I said, I'm talking about you. Now run along before I have to get your Papa back out here.
Mama, no. Before that, all the way at the beginning of that.
Yeah, go run along. Go eat your pancakes.
I'm almost done with my pancakes. You know what you're gonna get? Face plant.
A face plant.
Yeah, what's a face plant anyways? It's like a small fart. Or like someone's getting punched in the face.
By a small fart.
Huh?
By a small fart.
Uh-huh.
I see. Honestly, having him in here is probably more entertaining than anything I've been talking about.
Mama, how long have you been pooping?
My whole life. I made the poor boy cry the other day. I can't remember if I told. Go! Go away! Go away! Papa!
Quiet, sir. Get in here. Stay out of there. Mama's making a video.
So, like, I can't remember if I mentioned this already or not. I think I probably did, but I made the boy cry the other day. Like, I didn't mean to. It was just he came in and he was like, Mama, does everything grow old and die? It's like, yeah. He's like, Mama, will I grow old and die? It's like, yeah. And he starts crying, I don't want to die. And I'm like, oh my gosh. It's like, I don't want to kid. I don't want to make him cry, but I don't want to lie to the kid. I don't know what else to say. You know, so then we told him, you know, you're not going to grow old and die for a very long time, you know. First you're going to be a grown-up with a job, car, and you'll be living in your own house. And he starts crying again. I don't wanna. I want to live with you forever. Oh my gosh. Kid, come on here. I think I gave him a soda and told him to go way to distract him. It's like, I don't know what to do. There we go. So the shading on those looks pretty good, and now that I ended up using the darkest skin tone for her stockinged area as I did on her skin area, and then we're going to layer the darker grays on top of that, and then I think we're going to use the grayish white for our highlights, and they're going to be more of a shiny highlight because we want to make it look as much like stockings as we possibly can here. It's like, I don't know. It's like the kid asked me, does everybody grow old and die? It's like, yeah. You know? Don't want him growing up thinking he's gonna live forever. I don't know. Does that make me a bad parent? I don't think so. I think they're in there watching that Cicero movie. I don't know. My husband's the one who likes them FBI kind of drug cartel movies. I'm more into the creepy kind of ghost movies, psychological horror movies. Oh, I saw a thing on, because the old man, he's got Roku and Hulu and Netflix and all that stuff. He's got Real TV with Real TV stuff. And I guess there's another Nicolas Cage movie. Can't remember what it was called, but it's like Nicolas Cage is stuck in an abandoned amusement park with demon animatronics. It's like, I want to see that so bad. Like, whether good or bad, all Nicolas Cage movies are good because Nicolas Cage. Yes, I love Nicolas Cage. But I don't know if it's on Netflix or Hulu or Roku or exactly where it's at. And I can't remember what it's called. But I know I could probably Google it and find out real quick and watch it. And then I can tell you guys all about the wonders of the latest Nicolas Cage movie fighting demon animatronics. It's like, I can't think of anything else that sounds much more Nicolas Cage than that. Having a little bit of issue in getting the blending that I want on this area through here because it's such a thin area where her calf is at. There. I'm also trying to use up the color that I've mixed up. It's not on the palette, it's just I've got it directly on my little particle board work thing here, and I've noticed that the particle board absorbs the liquids very, very fast as well. So the paint seems to dry out really, really fast on this particle board stuff. So I'm wanting to get this step done before that particle board sucks the life out of the kind of grayish skin tone paint that I've mixed up here to do her stockings with.
What's taking you so long?
I'm not done painting her legs yet.
Paint the this cartoon.
Hey, stop touching it. I'm getting to it. Go, run along. Don't make me call your papa again. Not that the Cicero movie's a bad movie, it's actually a decent movie. Just, you know, I prefer Nicolas Cage yelling at CGBs. Not the bees. We actually, a few months ago, watched Color Out of Space with Nicolas Cage, and I thought that movie was awesome. I absolutely loved it. So I would recommend Nicolas Cage in Color Out of Space to anyone. And not just because it's Nicolas Cage. Well, maybe a little bit just because it's Nicolas Cage. And yes, if any of you say anything, I have seen the Nicolas Cage throw pillows on Wish. And yes, I totally want a set of Nicolas Cage throw pillows on Wish for my house. I think I might even get the hoodie and the pajama bottoms to go with them. Just because. Dude, I wonder if I could get lingerie printed with Nicolas Cage's face on it. That would be the gift my husband would hate, but I would love. It's settled. I'm getting some Nicolas Cage printed fabric and I'm making some lingerie. I'm totally doing it, and I will post the results for you guys because everybody needs sexy Nicolas Cage bedroom wear. I think I've almost got the blending on this leg where I want it. Like, I don't particularly enjoy sewing. I know how to do it, but I'm better with knitting and crocheting. I don't think I could crochet something sexy with Nicolas Cage's face on it. I'm gonna have to sew it. There we go. So I like the blending I've got on that going too. And now we're gonna switch to the darker gray tones. Ooh, I keep shaking the table, which shakes the camera. Where's my other brush? And we are going to start working with just the gray here. And the layering of this area is taken a little bit longer because I don't actually know what I'm doing with this particular kind of thing here. But like, I'm definitely trying to get it to look like she's wearing stockings. So far, I think it looks decent. One of these is black and one of these is a very dark gray, and it's hard for me to tell which is which. There we go. So I mixed up a little bit of the very dark brown I had thought up for her hair color with the very, very, very dark gray that I have on the palette. And I mixed it into the skin tone that was already on there. And I think this is the color we're going to use. Yeah. That's really dark. I feel like I should be able to feather it down, yeah, and out. As long as I use it sparingly and feather it as I go, that looks like that's gonna work pretty well here.
I need that.
I'm sure you do. You've been needing all sorts of things to give you an excuse to come in here.
Don't turn the clock. Mining for diamonds, man.
Yeah, I actually think that is going to work quite nicely. And then we'll add in the shiny stocking highlights, and this video should be done for the day. There we go. And and then of course the little bands we got here. But I actually think that almost looks like convincing stockings. Yeah, we're just going to do it a little bit at a time as we do, and kind of wetting it and drawing the paint out is giving it that bit of a layered effect to make it look like she's wearing them on her feet while still creating the illusion of the shadow here. It's looking good. There's a cat at the door too. She's just gonna have to wait also. She actually likes the snow. She's been out playing in it all week. But you know, she lived in Colorado with us, and she played out in the snow the whole time we lived out there too. Like, she's just fine with it. only good thing is, with her wearing stockings like this, is we do need to put a little bit of detail into her feet and toes, but not a whole lot, because she is wearing the stockings. Boy's gonna be 5 soon. Can't believe it. They grow up so fast. Is that Cicero the name of the crazy jester in Skyrim? Where they got like the grandmommy corpse and they carry her around. What is that? The Assassin's Guild? I don't know why that just popped into my head. I think it's spelled differently than the movie title, though. Oh, we're so close to being done. Then I can get off here and fold laundry and do dishes. Yay. I will say, though, that overall, I am pleased with how the stocking legs turned out. Absolutely. And then I'm going to come back in with not the lightest skin tone that I've been using, but the second to lightest skin tone. And we're going to kind of do this technique here. Do this here. And make it look like shiny stocking nylon material. And then I think we might even go in with just a little bit of the lightest skin tone. And we're not going to want to go all the way, but just kind of the center area here. Dot in a little bit more of that. There, like that. And we're going to do the same thing along her thigh area here on the other side. I feel like I might want to be using a different brush for this. Oh well, I'm already using this one. Again, just going to put that lighter color just kind of in the center-ish. Go like that. Now let's go ahead and finish up the final part of her legs by doing the straps on her stockings, which we've got a little bit here that you can see. I know, I'm tempted, and I'm probably going to end up screwing it up doing this, but a little bit of white. I actually don't mind the way that looks at all. Yeah, those totally look like she's wearing stockings. I am satisfied with that. out what I'm doing for dinner tonight, too. I'm not sure. Got a lot of pork. They had pork loins on sale at the store for like half price, so I got 2 of them. And I'm just kind of sectioned them out, you know. Pork steaks, little cube chunk pieces of pork, that kind of thing. So we're going to be eating lots of pork. I need to figure out what I'm doing with it tonight. We want that strap to be mostly black, but not completely. You know, we want it to have a little bit of depth. It can't just look like a solid black line running across her leg. We're gonna do a little bit of the medium gray. And then a little bit of the light gray there. Just like that. And that is how we're going to paint her legs and finish the background and make it look like she's wearing stockings. I hope you didn't find this live stream too terribly boring. Like, comment, subscribe. Try looking for me on YouTube now that I'm having to be on YouTube for this. Stay spooky. I'll see you later. Bye.
Hi, Mama.